Obviously, Duplex Dam, this is my meetup, so I appreciate everybody coming out and supporting it. Today we have Cody and the Keegley North team. For you guys that may not know, they're a wholesaling group, but they're also licensed agents. I don't know if they all are. They'll tell you all that. But today, we're just going to learn all about wholesaling and kind of running your own business. So I'm not going to go too far into it, but this is ask questions as they come up. Don't wait. Make sure and just communicate. We're not going to sit here for an hour and then have 50 questions at the end. If something pops up, 5 other people have that same question. So feel free to just shout something out and we'll get to it. But that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate it. And we'll let Cody and the team take it away.
What's going on, everybody? So we're going to get right into it. How many people have obviously heard of wholesale? That's good. We got a good group. All right. This is kind of the agenda, what we're going to get into today. We'll try to go as fast as possible, but obviously not too fast. I'm going to just break down the team. I'm Cody. I'm the owner of Keegley North. I'll just introduce everybody. You guys want to go?
I'm Joe. I'm the co-owner of Keegley North. Josh, Director of Acquisitions. Dylan, Acquisition Manager. And Son, Acquisition Manager. I'm Sam. I'm Director of Distribution.
Okay, cool. So that's just the team that I have. I have a couple other people. I have another disposition manager. She actually lives in Alexandria. But we'll just jump right into it. So besides the team, the biggest thing for me where we've started to build consistency in our business, where I initiated, was obviously branding. Branding was a huge thing for me. And like what I mean by branding, I'm not good at this. So it's the first time with the clicker. Okay, I gotta go back. So Keegley North, us guys, we're obviously a real estate investment company. Everybody on my team is a licensed agent. And we specialize in wholesaling. They'll get into a little more exactly what they do, but Keegley is a franchise company. Has anybody heard of Jamil Damji or Pace Morby? So Jamil has a franchise company called Keegley, and I purchased a Keegley here in Minnesota. Big reason why is I'm a firm believer in systems, and I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I know a lot of people about here have created a lot of success in this business, and I didn't want to just, like I said, reinvent the wheel. So I went with Keegley, so they had all that. Here's the team. Obviously, we just introduced ourselves, but these are everybody on the squad.
How many branches?
So Keegley, we have 109 locations, and we're in 39 different states. Sometimes, like some people will transfer and stuff like that and change markets and stuff like that. When I first started, I was strictly Minnesota, and then I did also Jacksonville, Florida, and then Dallas, Texas. I just found being in my backyard is just a little bit easier. I can build relationships better with, agents or actually people that are doing the business. So we made some changes and just really directed our focus on here. I know there's a lot of people that can virtually wholesale. We've done virtually wholesaling, but just like for the most consistently to keep our pipeline going is just doing it in our backyard. But the big thing for me was building my brand. So building the brand, the big reason why I think building your brand is the most important thing is everybody knows a lot of people obviously in this room. So how many people know, like in your guys' circles or stuff, like do people know you're in real estate right now? And like when I ask that question, a lot of times people say like no, or like or another question, my follow-up question is like, are you on social media? Like, are you connected with other agents and other brokerages? And just for I just asked that question for the reason that it's for me, I found I wanted to be involved in the community. I wanted to be everybody's cheerleader. I wanted to see them win. And that started helping me just building meaningful relationships with agents, and they gave me an opportunity to get into a room with them, basically saying like, hey, this is how I do business, and like I would love to figure out if we can do business together. And so through that, I hit social media. Social media is free. You know, that's one of the best things for it. It's free. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok. I don't really use TikTok that much. But Facebook and Instagram, I'll say, are probably my two biggest, where just from those two, we've closed over six wholesale transactions just from people like hitting us up on social media saying like, hey, I got a deal. Then we hop on the phone with them and, you know, figure out if it's a real opportunity. But like just through that, I mean, that's such an easy, free way to connect with people, you know. This definitely is the business where it's a people business, you know. We want to be connected with everybody. Like the big reason like why I got into it, I want to be the guy, like I know a guy. If I can't get it done, I know a guy that's going to get it done. And that's it. There's LinkedIn as well. I do use LinkedIn quite a bit. Another thing, I don't even know if I'm going with this. Branding. For sure. Kind of like what I'm talking about. Let me actually read it. I go so quick, you know? Yeah. Okay. The branding. No, I got lost where I'm at. Huh? Next slide. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's key. So who are you? Big reason, like I said, when you're on social media, you want people to obviously know who you are and what you're doing and how you can add value to their business. A big way for us is, you know, we work with a lot of real estate agents. So we want to connect with a lot of real estate agents and letting them know exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how we can maybe add more opportunity for them in their business. Why does it matter? I mean, a bit, like we'll get into it again, but like why does it matter is basically we're just the convenience, adding that value. I know like a lot of times these flippers or people are doing the rehabs, they don't always have the time to go find these projects. You know, my team has the time to get on the phone, get on the text messages, go find these specific kind of properties for these people and create that consistency. And I think another big thing is it does build credibility the more that you're out there, because when a lot of these people look you up, they can see that, you know, you're engaged in the business, you're always doing this kind of content that I'll just say like a lot of people have just kind of said like, oh, I feel like I already know you because like they've seen all the stuff on the internet or something like that. And that like, that's I'm way behind. That's a big plus just in the business, because you want to be connected with people that are doing what you're doing and you want to see it. But yeah, I think one of the hardest things about building your brand is obviously, what do you talk about? Like when you go on the content, what are you going to say? How are you going to say it? Who's your audience even, you know? With that, like I try to definitely keep it very, for me personally, I try to just keep it 101 as much as I could. Just like basic stuff, like how to properly comp a property, how to connect with agents, why connect with agents, just simple things just to engage people to just start to engage. And then once I started getting engagement, then I could break it down on more of a personal level, if it's like a DM or a phone call, and then we can figure out more ways that we can just create opportunity together. But like that all came from like I mean, they're going to go into it more, but like creating systems around my branding. Like when is the proper time when I need to reach out to people? When is the proper time to post a video so I can be in the right algorithm? Or, you know, when is the proper time to, you know, post? That's another one, because like Facebook and Instagram, they have a lot of like, you can get shadow banned for like no particular reason. And like I learned that for I took like a social media class, and like I learned about like how people were getting shadow banned by using like if you use like the same kind of hashtags over, like it will put you into like I don't know what the shadow band is, but your shadow band, so people don't see your shit. But like just kind of keep switching it up and finding how like the algorithms up, but like it becomes like another job. And but it's crucial in this business because when everybody sees you, they're gonna see what you do, what you're about, how you're doing it, and that's crucial when they look you up, you know, posting on the algorithms, hashtags, keywords. I always use about like real estate investing, just real estate, just things to, you know, gather people's attention. I always use like business. You are a business owner. Everybody in here is a business owner, you know, and just trying to gather more ways to get into those algorithms. But the biggest one I think that I found and the biggest success is being people's cheerleaders. I love seeing everybody win, even if it's not anything to do with a wholesale win, you know. Like watching people just close a regular transaction deal, you know, they post that picture, that deal closed. First person on there. Fuck yeah, bro, that's awesome. Cause like I know the fucking work that it went into probably do that. They probably showed a shit ton of houses and had to do a bunch of stuff. You know, it's work. Like if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? You know, so it's cool to like basically be those cheerleaders for them because when they do come across that like distressed property or that property that you let them know, they're going to be the first person to hit you up because like, you know, I always see that little guy on my Facebook. He always said, "What's up?" Or, you know, it's you're always in their head. And that was a big way because everybody just, oh, you guys are the wholesale guys. Wholesaling 101, we'll get into that. Basically, obviously, what it is. And are you up now?
Yeah.
That's it. Now the team's going to talk about how we strategically just create the consistent a little more. Obviously, I'm strictly the branding, but Joe is the mastermind behind everything of creating the systems and creating everything, and they're all going to break it down how now we actually do the consistency. So thanks, guys. Pay attention.
All right, so we're going to do some wholesaling 101, and then we'll talk a little bit about building out the systems so that you can actually do the business. How many people here are licensed agents? All right, a handful. How many people here are lenders? Okay, cool. How many people here have done one or more wholesale deals in the last year? Cool. All right. Then interrupt me as I go along. You know, kind of starting from the beginning, but it seems like that's the right group. So wholesaling is a highly specialized segment of the market. Wholesaling is a highly specialized segment of the market where, you know, we are looking to provide solutions and convenience for homeowners, real estate investors, and real estate agents. What do you guys think of when you think of wholesaling? Like, what are some of the first words that come to your mind when you think of wholesaling?
Middleman, I love.
Middleman. Good.
We buy ugly houses.
Yep.
Solicitation.
There we go. Going down the right path. Right. So like this is the reputation. If it was possible to have a worse reputation than used car salesmen and realtors, like we found it, right, in wholesaling. And so that's one of the reasons that we exist, right? We exist because it hasn't always been done right, but it can be, right? And there are good ways to do this where it is truly a win-win for every single person that's involved in the transaction. So we buy ugly houses, right? The bandit signs. This is sort of what we usually think of when we think of wholesaling. These are our local Minnesota names that I'm sure you've seen. Homestead Road doesn't really wholesale, but they are probably the largest home buyer in Minnesota. And so you've seen them everywhere. Brad Smith with iBuy MSP, Mark Bronia with his with the Lindley Group, and then the guys over at Minnesota Home Guys. So those are kind of the big guys in the area. If you do want to continue to network and kind of connect with folks, look those guys up. Keegley pioneered the direct-to-agent method, where instead of going direct to consumer, like this model, right, our team is calling agents all day. Calling agents, and they're trying to find agents that have properties where properties are homeowners that would be a good fit for us. So we've got some key players in the transaction: Sally the seller, Angie the agent, us, Keegley North, and then Ryan the rehabber. Sometimes there's another Alex agent who is the one that brought the deal to Ryan the rehabber. So Sally needs to sell her house. She calls Angie, who's her favorite agent, and Angie shows up and she finds this. And so obviously this isn't Angie's traditional listing. She knows that this property likely has to be sold to an investor, but she doesn't want to pigeonhole Angie, right? She wants to make sure that Angie has she doesn't want to pigeonhole Sally, sorry, with just an investor offer. She wants to provide all the options. So she calls Keegley. We get her an all cash offer within 24 hours or less, as is closing in 30 days or less. And it gives Angie, the agent, the ability to walk Sally through, this is what you can get when you list it, this is what you can get if you rehabbed it and list it, and this is what you can get from an all-cash investor offer. One of the most important things to us as Keegley is that the agents that are representing the sellers actually walk them through the pros and cons of each of the options. And so, as the investor cash offer, we all know the pros, right? It's 21 to 45 days. You don't have to clean the house. You don't have to do anything, right? The con, 40 to 60% of ARV, right? Like, it's not a secret that's the trade-off. All the way up to the rehabbed MLS sale, where you're going to get full market value, but there's a lot of work that's got to go into cleaning out Angie's house, or Sally's house. Sally ultimately decides that the convenience is more important to her than the bottom line. So she accepts the offer and our inspection contingency starts. We begin presenting the opportunity to people who fix and flip homes or who buy and hold homes for rentals. And eventually, Ryan the rehabber comes out of the woodwork and says, this is a perfect fit for me. All I do is order houses. So we assigned the original contract. We had a contract with Sally the seller to purchase the house. Now we have a new contract called an assignment agreement that we execute with Ryan the rehabber. It has all of the same terms. It conveys the original contract exactly as it was written to Ryan. And so how do people get paid in this? Sally hired Angie to list the house. So Angie charged her a 6% commission. 2.7 of that, or whatever percent the seller wanted to pay out, ends up getting paid out to the Keegley agent as a buy-side commission. Angie makes her 3.3%. We had it under contract with Angie, or with Sally, for $100,000, and we assigned it to Ryan for $120,000. So the agents are getting paid their commissions. Keegley North, as a wholesaler, is getting paid an assignment fee. That $20,000 is called an assignment fee. So, why would anyone do this, right? Sally's selling her house for less than someone will buy it for, right? And Ryan is paying more than Sally's willing to sell it for. Well, it's all convenience, right? Sally decided that she didn't want her neighbors to see that house, right? She was embarrassed. The convenience was more important to her than the dollars. But what is Ryan thinking? Why would he ever do this? It's because this is what it takes to get one deal closed. It takes 1,200 calls, 3,000 text messages sent, almost 35 hours on the phone, and 30 deals underwritten and fully comped. That's not Ryan's business model, right? Ryan's business model is going out there and flipping houses. And so all he has to do is finish his project, open up his email from Tim, and he's got 5 deals available, right? So he doesn't have to go through this. He doesn't have to have a team of 7 people that are out there every single day making these calls. So there's value there. But we're a terrible fit for 97% of homeowners. 97% of homeowners should not work with us, and that's okay, because we're the best fit for that 3% that needs an easier solution. And one of the reasons for that is, and this is why we like working with agents so much, is because it's the consistency and the transparency that's provided in this process. all of our offers are calculated based on a real formula that's based on real expenses, real required profit margins. If we don't pull the numbers out of thin air, right? And all of the paperwork is always written by a licensed agent on standard Minnesota Realtor forms. So, this is how we can combat the predatory nature, right? All of kind of the under the radar, poor reputation that wholesalers can sometimes have. Transparency and consistency alone really take you a long way. Any questions on just the basic setup of a wholesale transaction?
Are you shopping for Ryan's? Or is that a relationship? Like how do
you find Ryan?
do you already have Ryan's? Or is it sometimes you put out there in a Ryan's bid, you go with
Yeah, it's a great question. Where do you find your buyers, right? Where do you find the people that want to flip the houses? A lot of different ways. So one big way that is free and immediately available is Brad Smith's I Buy MSP off-market properties, right? So you go into that Facebook group, and if you have a property that's under contract, that's off-market, you post it there, say what it is, and you'll have 15 people that say, send me the details. That's sort of the DIY, just slowly build it over time way to do it. The other way is sometimes when we have a deal that's in an area that we haven't sold a lot of deals in, we will look at the MLS records within, maybe half a mile or a quarter mile, look for properties that were flipped right in that neighborhood, and then go to the tax records, see who bought those flips, and then skip trace those people. So that's like the ultra manual, kind of high time investment way to do it, but there are a lot of different ways. We'll talk about it in the systems. You can go to Fiverr and just search for cash buyer list, and then they'll come up. The trick is, and this is kind of what sets Tim's operation apart, is every single day Tim and Teresa, our two dispo people, are talking to buyers regardless of whether or not we have deals. Right? They're building the relationship, so it's a real relationship built over time. And Tim and Teresa truly know what those buyers want. So instead of Tim having to call all 1,000 of our buyers, he's calling 4 that he knows for a fact love hoarder houses in Brooklyn Center. Right? Good question.
I would just jump in real quick. For anybody who's new to wholesaling, I think anybody who's seasoned hates this when you go on an investor Facebook page and who's my buyers? And that's what they post. Where are my buyers? You're posting on an investment page. They're there. Post your deal. And most people don't have a deal and they think that they need to find those investors first. If you find a deal, you'll have 50 people calling you for that deal. And the deals are pretty simple. I mean, if you can find something 70% ARV minus construction costs, you're going to sell it that day. So, like he was saying, don't box yourself to just, hey, I want to build a buyer's list before I get anything. If you actually get something, you're either going to be able to post on these groups, or if you have, time and you want to go on Zillow, or if you're an agent, have MLS access. Like you said, just look who's been buying in that area and just call them. If you don't want to skip trace, call the buyer's agent. They'll be more than happy to connect you with their buyer and, be another middleman. But if you got a deal, you got a deal. So,
any other questions?
How many of those are you dealing without an agent that you're dealing with the seller directly? And how do you, what kind of forms? I'm an agent. What do you use to make sure you're not violating any?
Yeah, good question. Disclosure. We have some standard disclosures that we use. The percentage of deals where we are direct to the seller is less than 10%. I mean, probably less than 5%. It is our very strong preference that the seller is represented by someone other than us for the barrier. With that said, something else that we started doing is, transparency is the key to making any of these transactions go well. And so when we're sitting down with a seller, we're telling them, this is the price where we would buy it. which is significantly below even our max offer, right? It's the zero risk number for us. If they don't want to accept that, then we explain to them, this is what wholesaling is. This is how we do it. This is what we would hope to be able to sell it or assign it to an end investor for, and we'll split the profit. We just need your cooperation in getting people in here and letting them see the house. I think that one of the biggest things on our disclosures is there are probably like 3 or 4 spots where they sign where it explicitly says you will make more money selling it on the MLS. And we really want them to know that. And we want it to be clear that they're choosing this option for some reason other than the money. Cool. Any other questions before we go to systems?
You go back down. If anybody wants to take a picture. Saw a couple people. Yeah. Or Lucas selling it to people.
All right, so the systems. Everything that I'm about to cover is just straight from our website, getyoursystems.com. And so you don't have to remember it. It's all there. That QR code will take you there. But the first step is setting up your CRM. Raise your hand if you've got a CRM in place right now.
Let's go.
Good. Okay, that's great. So this is the mission control of your entire business. All your communication, all of your deals, all of your deal tracking, it all has to be in your CRM for you to be able to do this in a consistent way. So there are 2 kind of most popular options for CRMs. REI Reply is the go-to in the wholesaling area, almost tied with Go High Level. But REI Reply is probably the most user-friendly option, and they just launched an AI tool that's making things even a little bit easier for you. This is not what we use because we're not allowed to, but it is very user-friendly. We use Close. That's what's required by our franchise system. We wouldn't use Close if we weren't part of the franchise system, mostly because it's fairly complex and you have to build it kind of from scratch. So if you are a very techie person, you love kind of playing with the programs, you can build Close to run your business in really any customized way that you want, which is not something you can really do with a program like REI Reply. So you've got your CRM, you went to REI Reply, you signed up, you've got it, but now you need humans to talk to through the CRM. There are 2 different places that we tend to get those humans. The first one is Fiverr. This is our go-to for any type of list that we need to pull, whether it's cash buyer lists, tax records, motivated sellers. It's not as great for motivated sellers. It tends to be a little outdated for motivated sellers, but you can do what's called list stacking on Fiverr, where you can say, I want a list of people that have a vacant house that is also tax delinquent, that is also has a Liz Pendens on it, and also has city citations. So that's called a stacked list, stacked motivations. Those types of lists can be really powerful, and you can do that pretty easily through Fiverr. If you want to go directly to seller, or if you're an agent that wants to find very quick listings, then something like needtosellmyhomesfast.com is a great option. So needtosellmyhomesfast.com is people are going online, they're asking for a cash offer, right? And then they end up with you, right? So this is all a bidding system. And so it's one of the least expensive ways that you can start doing cash offer leads. It's all a bidding system that's based on people's budgets running out. So what we do is the lowest you can possibly bid is $75 a lead. And so we bid $75 a lead and get 0 leads for the first 2 to 3 weeks of the month. But then by the end of the month, everyone else's budget has run out. And so then we can start to get the same leads that everyone else is paying $400 a lead for $75. Okay, so you've got the system, you've got the CRM, you've got the people. What happens if someone actually has a potential deal? First, panic, and then comp it. So if you are not a licensed agent, then I would recommend Privy. Privy is, you see it all over Instagram and Facebook. It's the most user-friendly way to get access to MLS data without being on the MLS. If you're an agent, use the MLS. There's nothing better to comp deals than the MLS. So now what? You have identified a deal. We're getting there. Sorry. Okay. Step 4, hit your KPIs. So the consistency of outreach is what drives your business long term. So if you're doing this part-time, you can't sit at your computer for 8 hours doing this all day. This is what we would recommend to be able to still build a consistent pipeline of deals. Sending out 200 text messages a day, 25 calls a day, and trying to make 5 verbal offers a day. This is not going to build you into the
That like automated stuff or just manual? You're actually manually texting with those people, manually on them, or are you like bulk dialing, bulk sending?
mixture. So the text messages would be almost all bulk. You want to be really careful about bulk texting and
15, we do 15 by 15. So 15 text messages every 15 minutes is a good way not to get spam.
if you exceed that, you are guaranteed to get spammed. The phone calls are pseudo manual, so it's a click through dial, so it is a manual click, but we're not on our phones doing it.
You want to maybe touch a little bit on why the 15-15 for people?
Yeah, carriers will just phone, T-Mobile, AT&T, all those companies watch like a hawk the volume of text that you're sending out and the content itself of the text. And so it's not just 15 over 15. It's every time you send 15, it should be a different text message.
I mean, is it the legal status that it's illegal to text people without their consent? If they haven't opted
Without
in?
their consent, yes.
Yeah.
If they haven't opted in. That's one of the reasons if we are going to be texting consumers, that we like the places like Need to Sell Your House Fast, because through that process, they have opted in.
That's mainly for like if you're doing like direct engagement.
If you are doing this full time, this is what our team does. So in your first 45 days, you're contacting 240 leads. A lead for us is an agent. So 240 agents per day, and sending out or making 100 calls a day, 80 of those unique, so 80 unique humans that you're calling, spending 2.5 hours on the phone talking, 240 unique texts sent, 300 total texts sent, with about a 30% response rate. If your response rate is below 30%, you need to switch up what you're texting. You need to make it broader. You need to make sure it ends with a question so that people are responding to you. If your response rate is below 30%, you'll get spammed and blocked. Then as you get further into it, we would expect the stats to change a little bit. Basically, you don't have to work so hard to get in contact with people, because you're now starting to follow up with people you've already talked to, and your response rate is going to increase. Your talk time is going to increase because they already know who you are, that type of stuff. This is the best part. Send your deals to Keegley North. So after you hit your KPIs every day, you've got all your systems up and running, eventually you will get a deal, right? It's going to happen, but then you have to sell it. And so that's where you get to make a strategic decision. Do you want to try to do the acquisition side and the disposition side, build out your buyer list and do all of that? Or do you want to focus on finding the deal and then having a team like ours sell it for you? And so when you have a deal, if you decide I don't want to build out an entire dispositions team, then call our team. These are our 3 acquisition managers, Josh, Anton, and Dylan. They will all look at your deal with you. They'll give you our buy price and let you know like how we underwrote the deal. And then you can decide from there, is this a deal that we can work on together? Any questions?
Do you guys actually buy it or do you get another assignable contract?
We assign. Yeah, so
So it's like another layer of, assuming the first one's an assignable contract, it's another assignable contract on top of it.
in some instances, but Anton's going to talk to you more about how we change
Okay.
and what that structure looks like. Any other questions? All right, then Josh is going to start us off on the process.
Hello, hello. Right. The process. So very easy to get lost in this business, especially sitting on the phone, making calls. You get very bored. So for me, it's important to get a daily routine, and I put it in my calendar. It notifies me every time something changes. But kind of an example is you wake up, work out from 4 to 8, arrive at the office between 7 and 8, check inbox, prepare for the day. So when I'm checking my inbox, it's my CRM inbox. See if anybody's texted me any properties. Do I need to follow up with anybody immediately? Just really set my day. And then 9 a.m. every morning, we do a team meeting, kind of just get everything out there. If anybody's having any issues or any properties that come and arise, we discuss it right there. 9:30, 10:30 is power hour. So that's when you hit the phones hard, get everybody on their way to work. Then from 10:30 to 12:30, I check in with the suppliers, manage active deals, send my text. I'm consistently sending texts throughout the day. To hit 200 texts for me, it takes on average about 4 hours if I'm consistently setting reminders every 15 minutes. So smartwatches are always fun. And if you try to beat me waking up, I'll wake up earlier. Okay. 12:30, 1:30, take some time for lunch. 1:30 to 2:30, hit the phones again, right? Everyone's getting back from lunch around that time. It's a perfect prime opportunity to get them on the phone. 2:30 to 4, I'm following up with all the agents I've talked to, sellers I've talked to, checking in. Even if I have nothing new for them, I'm always saying, hey, how's business going for you? OT2 and OT1 in our CRM, we have different categories for different agents on stages where they're at, which we'll get into here shortly. But OT1 is really just the initial outreach where I send a message introducing myself or give a call. They don't answer. Then they go to OT2. OT2 is I made an initial outreach, but no one followed up. So now I know what kind of conversation I need to have. And then, of course, follow-ups is those are the seeds I've already planted, and I'm just nurturing them. Other daily tasks, manage deals, and then from 4 to 5, I head home. All right. So what does it take to get a deal closed? Again, Joe kind of touched on this. Calls made for me is 12:01. Average text messages, I'm sending about 3,000. Talk time, 34 and a half hours. Deals comped 30. So every time I get a property, I comp it, and then we pitch our offer. If they take it, great. If not, obviously I kind of go through the process of how I got to my number, because a lot of people will tell you no because they don't understand how you got there. Immediately, it's just a lowball offer. But if you walk them through it and you get them to agree, then they'll kind of agree with you a little bit more and you can get further in the process. Okay, so the Keegley acquisition process is acquisition manager sends text messages to agents asking for deals. It's not that direct. You want to make it more vague, more friendly, so that the agents respond to the text messages. So you want to get that response rate up. So I keep my text messages very vague. Like if you guys are agents, you've probably gotten my text message. So it's just like, hey, how are you guys doing? How was your weekend? And then Act Manager calls everyone that sends a response to begin building the relationship. This is very important because anybody who sends me a text, I'll call you right then and there. Because I know you have your phone. I know you're by it. Let's talk deals. If they don't answer, I don't really waste time leaving a voicemail. I'll just shoot them with a text. I get any details on any potential deal, and then evaluate the deal based on the cash offer guidelines, submit offer for approval. So obviously when I'm talking to the agent, I'm getting as much information on the property, building as much rapport, showing my value so that I'm taking notes, and then it goes to the comping stage, bless you. And then we're able to get a little bit further in the process. I call the agent back with my offer, and it determines if it should be written up. So again, this is where you want to go through every sort of stage of it, of how you got to your offer. So I never just say, hey, your house is worth 100,000. That's what I'm willing to write it up for. I show them that market value is at 200. This property needs roughly around 50,000 in rehab, closing and holding costs on average about 25,000. And then obviously we like to make a fee. So our offer is going to be roughly around that 100. So I walk them down so they understand. I write up the deal once they agree to it. I send it over to Joe to sign for it. And then we send it to the agent so that they can present it to the seller. Offer is executed and submitted to TC. Does everyone here know what a TC is? Transaction coordinator. So somebody who handles paperwork of the deal, make sure everything's in order.
I'm a TC.
Right there. Right there. What's your name?
Mary.
Mary. Everyone should have a Mary. And then after you get everything submitted to your TC, you're going to begin working with your disposition manager, which mine is Tim right there, and Teresa. They're the ones that are really advertising the property to get it sold. And then I also, with the selling agent, I arrange for 1 to 3 showings because we're going to need to get our buyers in there, get everyone in there. So we accommodate times preset so that the sellers know, like, hey, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 11, just don't be at the house. And then if we need to, we renegotiate with the seller. Say we lock up a house at 100 and we get an offer at 95. Well, obviously I can't sell that because I'm losing money for each property. So what do is I call the selling agent and I go over the reasons why we have to renegotiate our price to get it down under my buy price. So ideally I'd want to get it anything under 95. And then I shepherd to closing. So I make sure that everything is kosher. I'm talking to the agent, letting them know, like, hey, we're still on track to close. They reassure me the same. If anything pops up, we want to make sure we address it before it gets to the closing table. Any questions?
What do you guys do when you're creating the offer in terms of figuring out rehab budget and baking all that into the offer? How close do you get to the property? Do you go on site, take measurements?
Yeah, so a lot of it, the information we get is on tax records and building that rapport with the agent. So as the listing agent, they've already done the measurements. They've normally taken photos. They've had the conversation with the seller. So the spreadsheet that Joe put up there, where it kind of has that calculator, that's where we put in the information of the property, the square footage, what type of rehab it is, and then it auto calculates kind of a ballpark range of our offer.
Okay, so it's very high level then.
What are you doing in the purchase agreement itself for a contingency if you don't find a buyer? What's the time frame for you to find a buyer? And
Yeah, great question. 10 business days is for my inspection time.
so you tell them it's an inspection contingency.
Correct. So in every one of my purchase agreements, there is a 10 business day inspection period. And then I reiterate that it's not an actual inspection. It's really for our partners to walk the property to make sure that everything's good, that there's no hidden surprises that you and I didn't discuss. So again, I'm very forthcoming. I'm not trying to hide behind smoke and mirrors. That's what really gives the wholesalers a bad name. But honestly, if you just lean into it and get in front of it, they respect you a lot more and they want to keep working with you because you're so honest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What does it take to get a closed deal? It's the dispositions. Okay. This is Tim. Thank you guys for your time.
All right. So Dispo is a little different in the way because as I get to know more buyers, I don't have to find more buyers because we have great buyers already. And so, and I also have to communicate less with them because I know what they're looking for. But these are just some general stats that we're kind of baseline looking at when it comes down to get a deal sold. With that, the dispo process, so starts when we get the deal locked up. So Josh did a great job. He locked it up, gave me all the details. And first thing I do is I review any terms of the contract. So it's important that I know what I'm trying to sign. What am I trying to get rid of? What's important? What should the end buyer know? with that, I have to set a deadline. I have to get myself going a little bit. So I set a deadline of roughly, between 5 and probably 24 hours where, all right, the email blast goes out to the general, our general list of people that all want to see our deals. And we need to send it out to our VIPs now. So we set up the email blast. And then I start going through all of my buyers and just kind of vet them out. Hey, who's looking for what in what areas? So it kind of narrows the list, starts at like 1,200 people, narrows down to usually a couple hundred or maybe even less, depending on where the deal is. Then I'll send them a text just with the general info and call people accordingly just to try to get the name out there. Hey, hey, here's a deal. First come, first serve. How fast can we get you in? Ideally, set a bunch of showings and get a bunch of feedback. The better the feedback, better it goes. So then try to, get everything going. Again, as I get feedback, I can update people. I can figure out what people need, what they want, and continue to go through the process. If no buyers are biting, then I reduce the price or figure out something with Josh on a plan to move forward or any of my acquisitions. Ideally, I assign the contract to an end buyer once they're interested. We go through all the terms of the contract, making sure that they get all of the information of the purchase agreement. So they get the original purchase agreement, they get all their disclosures, any other like a TISH, anything like that that could come with the property. They get everything up front so they know what they're buying. And most investors know what they're looking for, so it's pretty straightforward. Then I verify EMD. So, once we assign the contract, there's earnest money that's applied with that contract to make sure that, we see it to the end. And that's my next job, is just to make sure that they submitted the earnest money. And then we're off to closing. Simple as that.
What would you say your start to finish is on that average, like day wise?
So if it's a good deal, I've closed 7 days. Average deal's probably 30.
I mean, from like when you get the new deal to when you get it assigned.
Okay, then probably 15 days from 21, 15 days, somewhere there. So get the deal, go through all the loops. Usually by the time that it gets assigned, it's somewhere between a 2 and 3 week closing. So ideally it's middle time. Any other questions?
Yeah. How when you're doing, you got your VIP buyers. How skinny are the deals getting where you feel like you can still dispose of it?
Yeah, it just depends on the deal. So if I'm getting a lot of feedback that a lot of people like the deal, I'm going to be a lot more hesitant to drop the price and to, wait for a full price offer. If it's something like we had one that was up in the middle of nowhere, and I had one buyer that was interested, if they gave me a price, I'm happy with what they offer. Anything's profit after a certain threshold. There's expenses that occur with the deal, of course, but yeah.
You end up sometimes dropping your wholesale fee or
Not like dropping it completely, but
to get
bare minimum.
something done.
Yes, ideally is to the closing table no matter what. So under any circumstance, if we can make it to the closing table and we're not losing a bunch of money in the process, sounds like a good deal to me. Any other questions?
Got the easier job, pay more just this.
No. I'll kill it. The big thing is that it's a game of consistency, right? It's making face with buyers. It's giving them what they want. It's giving them at good prices and talking through it with them. Making sure that you're very upfront with what it is too. So with that, Dylan. Please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what do we typically look for? So generally our purchase prices are all under 750,000 ARV after a mill on some.
So if anybody wants to do a deal with us, take a picture of this and
Yeah.
send this to us.
And then locations, Josh,
What's ARV?
after repair value. And then locations that we're in, I mean, all around the Twin Cities, down to Rochester, up to Duluth, just had one. So it really just depends on the property and where at. Property types, single family, multifamily. Also, if you come across townhomes, condos that you think might be a good fit, if they got the 2 beds, 2 bath, 1,000 square foot, it's worth us taking a look too. Commercial properties as well, on occasion. Then hot cities right now is Highland Park's been hot, South Minneapolis, Minnetonka, and then Book Center. Crystal, any questions on this?
What are the top seller motivations you guys are seeing?
I mean, that's case by case, distress situations, probates. I'm seeing more foreclosures starting to pop up now too as well. I've been hearing that from a lot of other agents. So
If you're ideal buy boxes, do you stay away from single family?
oh, excuse me, and single family. Yeah, single that's our main one. It's single family. So anything else on this one? So some examples for our ideal properties. There's one condition that they're in, obviously needs some work, needs some love. That's where we come in. So other agents are running. This is our goal. Again, and still, you see it all fits our criteria and what we're looking for there. Then, like Joe was saying, we prefer you guys to have a relationship with the seller here. So strong preference, sellers represented by an agent, not on our team. So no conflict of interest if they're not on our team. Just works out a whole lot better that way. But we want you to be the listing agent representing the sellers. Obviously, then you have their best interest. And you still get commission on that side too. Big part. Then obviously, every seller needs to know that if they do go to the MLS, that they might get more than what we'd be offering. But speed and convenience on our end. Then, suppose how many agents do we have in here? Everybody doing off-market deals
Now and then.
now and then, for sure. So I suppose you guys wondering, working with us as an agent, how does it work for you guys? So you still get a phone call for a listing appointment. Get on that call with the seller. You learn the house needs a lot of work. Might think that might be a better spot for a wholesaler, flipper, investor to come in. You don't want to go through the MLS, or the seller's just giving you signs that they don't want to list. They don't want showings, whatever the case might be. Then gather the information from the seller, address, beds, baths, square feet, get the condition of the property as well, see what the rehab might look like. Call me, your favorite acquisition manager, or Anton or Josh. We'll get that same info that you talked about with your seller from you. Then at the time as well, if you have any pictures, it's always a huge plus. Pictures are great. Then we'll go, Keegley will underwrite the deal, provide you a written and signed offer to go to your listing appointment with to present to your seller. Then you got to cover the pros and cons with them as well from our list or our offer rather than listing it on the MLS. They're going to accept or counter the offer, or they might want to list it as well. You'll learn that at that time. Go under contract. Work with me or one of the other acts on this to arrange for a couple showings, bring other partners through that we might be assigning the deal to at the time. And then we'll shepherd to close it.
In your earlier slide, you named some what you're calling hot cities. What's your criteria? Is it hot cities from an acquisition or a disposition standpoint?
Yeah, it would be dispositions probably.
Because there's inventory that you bought, or because investors are looking for?
Because there's a lot of investors looking for those areas. So
Okay.
especially with where we typically get them in pricing, they sell really well for the investors. So people are buying for the retail side, plus the investors are. So.
Okay. So if you want to be a buyer with us, first you can initiate the call with one of us on the team will talk to you. share what your buying criteria is. Share with me your buy box, just like what we went over. I'll get that from you. One of our dispo managers, Tim or Teresa, will then create you a buyer profile in our system. If we do get a new deal that matches that criteria, then Tim or Teresa will send you out either a text or an email on that property, add your fee to the top of the wholesale price, then forward it to your client. Schedule a showing. If your buyer wants it, let us know. Dispo manager will handle the assignment paperwork with your fee and included in the price. And Dispo manager sends the assignment agreement and the A to B contract, all of the disclosures to you to sign. The client executes, generally at $5,000 non-refundable earnest money. Then shepherd to close.
Is that earnest money going into the, what was her name? Alexis agent?
No, so for us, it'd be like West Title. You're working with.
Okay, so you go, the earnest money isn't going to the listing agent or the seller's agent. It's
Going
going
to
to,
title.
okay.
The earnest money is specific for the assignment, so it's two separate transactions in a way.
Okay.
So it's with us.
Are you guys depositing an earnest money with the
It's
listing agent?
escrow with us, and then we have one with.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Anything else on this? Okay. I'll turn it over to Anton.
All right, so who here is looking to at some point submit a property to our team? Anybody looking to submit a deal? Okay, so I'd say there's been three new wholesalers, right? I've done 4 JV deals since December. 3 of these deals were done with new wholesalers, never gotten a deal before. Okay, so we're going to be able to walk you through every single step. There's some reason if you haven't gotten something, why you haven't gotten something, and we can figure that out. So this is going to be geared mostly for wholesalers doing the direct to agent model. So you're letting agents know you're looking for yourself and your partner. Make sure the agent understands that if it's a viable deal, your partner's agent is going to represent you on the buy side. So that would be me. I'm an agent with Coldwell Banker, and I will represent you as you buy the property from the listing agent. So sending property is huge. Sending the information on the property is huge. I get wholesalers that send me property, and they say like IDK for like roof, foundation, like the very key components to figuring out what the property is worth. So the information part is probably the most critical piece of information. Okay, so if it's a good deal, you've sent me the info. I've comped it. We know the numbers for it. You tell you the agent, I will reach out and be in negotiation for that property. And then we'll write up an offer, okay? And that's the beauty of doing wholesale with the agents. They have if you write an offer, they need to present that, okay? So you're getting they have a duty to the seller, and they're going to work for you and with you. Okay, so once the offer is accepted, you and Joe, I should say, will be joining an agreement together, a joint venture agreement where you get, we'll get into the cuts, but you'll get a % of that deal. So 75-25 split with the dispo done by Keegley, and this is going to be for a new wholesaler. So your first 3 deals with us, if you've never done a deal, or if you're a new wholesaler, we quantify that by 1 deal a month, is it? Or 1 deal a year?
2 deals a month.
Okay, 2 deals a month for an experienced wholesaler. We will handle the entire dispo process from this point on. We get the contract signed, Tim gets it done for us, and we shepherd it to closing. Any questions as far as JVs?
I think that one of the biggest things that is different about working with Keegley is once that joint venture agreement is signed, you're gonna keep hearing from him, right? He's gonna keep you updated on what we're doing, how we're doing it, so that eventually you get to a point where you're locking it up yourself, right? But the point of those first 3 deals is that you can see exactly how we do the process so that you can get comfortable with how we do business and try to mimic that.
And then once we've done those first 3 deals, and we feel like you understand the process, how we work, and what it takes to do a deal with us, we'll do 50/50s from there on out. Okay, so this is if you're doing 2+ deals a month over the last within the last year. You find a deal, send info to your favorite act agent. You'll receive the buy price, just our MAO for our buyers.
What does that mean?
So it's going to be the maximum allowable offer. That's what we cannot go above. We usually account in a $20,000 assignment fee. So we can eat into that, but we don't want to. So we're going to give you, if we can sell it to Ryan Rehabber for 100, our max offer to the seller is 80. Any questions on that? And so you would get it under contract with the agent. I'm not talking to the listing agent or the seller. This is all you at this point. So you have an A to B contract with the seller, a purchase agreement, and you send it to me. We'll get it to our title company. Then I'll send you over the JV agreement to get your 50/50 split. And then you will help assist in the scheduling of showings, right? So there's 3 given dates that you selected with the seller. We'll get our buyers into those windows. And then contract gets assigned and we shepherd it to closing. Any questions? Awesome.
All right, so that's the squad and how we've been keeping consistent business. Went a little longer than we wanted. Sorry about that. But if you guys have any questions, seriously, go up to these guys. The biggest thing for us is we're just trying to add value to everybody's business. And if we can find a way to start scaling your business or adding 1 or 2 wholesale deals or, getting you another flip, whatever, I would love to make that happen. So come up to us, talk, or get out of here. We're done. Thank you guys so much.
Disposition.
You guys, the house squad. All right. Thanks, guys. We're gonna mingle. Anton. What's up, brother? You killed it.